The groom reaches out with trembling hands, lifts the delicate lace veil. He stares into the eyes of his bride, recognizes her instantly, and without a word, turns to the priest and says, "This marriage cannot happen. I'm filing for divorce right now." Gasps ripple through the crowd. The bride's bouquet hits the floor. And the reason behind this heart-wrenching decision? It's so astonishing, it will leave you speechless. In the vibrant city of Eldoria, where old traditions still dance with modern love, 28-year-old Alex Thompson had always been the dependable one. A talented architect with a gentle smile and a heart that believed in forever, he agreed to an arranged marriage because his parents insisted it was time. For months, he spoke every single night to a woman named Elena Rivera. Her voice was soft, warm, full of dreams. She told him about her paintings, sunsets that bled into oceans, colors that made her feel alive. She laughed at his jokes, listened when he talked about his stressful days, and promised him a future filled with travel and quiet mornings together. Alex fell hard. He fell completely. He pictured her face 1,000 times, soft eyes, a radiant smile, but tradition demanded no photos, no video calls, no meeting until the wedding day. The mystery only made his love grow stronger. The day finally arrived. The Ocean View ballroom glowed with white lilies and golden ribbons. Guests whispered about the perfect couple. Alex stood at the altar, heart racing, hands sweaty inside his tuxedo pockets. His best friend Jake squeezed his shoulder and whispered, "You're about to meet the woman of your dreams, man. Don't pass out." The music swelled. She appeared at the end of the aisle, gown flowing like a cloud, veil hiding everything he'd imagined for so long. She walked slowly, gracefully, and when she reached him, Alex could barely breathe. The priest smiled and nodded. It was time. With careful fingers, Alex lifted the veil, and everything stopped. The face staring back at him wasn't a stranger's. It was Sophia, his half-sister, gone from his life for over 10 years. The child of his father's secret affair, the little girl sent away after the family exploded in scandal. Alex had changed his last name to escape the pain. He thought she had vanished forever. But here she stood, tears already forming, whispering his name like a plea. His stomach dropped. Every late-night conversation, every shared secret, every promise of love crashed over him like a wave. The woman he'd fallen for wasn't Elena. She never existed. It was Sophia all along, hiding behind a false name, weaving herself into his life through careful lies. The guests shifted uncomfortably, sensing the storm. Alex's voice came out low and broken. "How would you do this?" Sophia reached for him, voice shaking. "I fell in love with you, Alex. The real you. I thought if we met this way, without the past, we could start over." But the word sister burned in his mind like fire. He stepped back, looked at the priest, and said the words that silenced the entire room. "This wedding is over. I want an annulment, today." Chaos followed. His mother fainted into his father's arms. Guests murmured in shock. Sophia sank to her knees, veil pooling around her like surrender. Alex walked out, the ocean breeze hitting his face as he fought tears. His lawyer friend caught up to him outside, already pulling out papers on his phone. Fraud, deception, grounds for immediate annulment. The story spread like wildfire. Headlines screaming about the groom who divorced his bride at the altar over a buried family secret. Alone on the beach that night, Alex stared at the waves. Every memory twisted. The way Elena described her lonely childhood, it was Sophia's real story. The avoided video calls, the vague family details, the insistence on tradition, it all made horrifying sense. He had shared his soul with his own sister, believing her to be his soulmate. The betrayal wasn't just romantic. It cut into the deepest wounds of his past. The affair that destroyed his family, the little sister ripped away, the silence everyone agreed to keep. He felt sick, angry, heartbroken. How could love feel so real and be so wrong? Sophia, back in her apartment, cried until she couldn't breathe. She never wanted revenge. She wanted belonging. Growing up shuffled between relatives, she'd watched Alex from afar. His success, his kindness, an ache for the brother she lost. When their parents arranged the match through distant connections, she saw a chance. Change her name, hide the truth, let him love her without the shadow of scandal. She convinced herself that once they were married, the love would make everything right. But the moment his face crumpled under the veil, she knew she destroyed the only family she had left as the sun set on what was supposed to be their wedding night. Two broken hearts sat miles apart, both wondering if trust could ever heal from a lie this big. The astonishing truth had torn them apart. But was this really the end? The weeks that followed were heavy with silence. Alex buried himself in work, sketching buildings that touched the sky because the ground felt too painful. Nights were worse. Dreams of her voice, her laugh, her face blending childhood memories with the love he thought was pure. He started therapy, spilling everything to a stranger because he couldn't face his parents yet. The counselor's words stayed with him. This isn't just about the lie. It's about the family wound you both carry. Slowly, painfully, Alex dug through old boxes and found letters Sophia wrote him as a child. Small, hopeful notes he'd forgotten. Her loneliness poured from every page. Sophia stopped painting bright colors. Her canvases turned stormy, veiled figures lost in shadow. Friends begged her to move on, but guilt anchored her. One night, she sat down and wrote Alex a letter she never expected him to read. She told him everything, how abandoned she felt, how seeing his life on the outside made her desperate to belong, how she convinced herself love could rewrite blood. "I know I broke your trust," she wrote. "I just wanted to matter to someone in this family." She mailed it with shaking hands. When Alex opened it, something cracked inside him. Anger was still there, sharp and hot, but beneath it rose a wave of sorrow. For the little girl sent away, for the brother who couldn't protect her, for two lives scarred by secrets neither of them created. He didn't reply right away. He needed time. Months later, his parents organized a quiet family dinner, hoping to mend what was shattered. Alex almost didn't go, but he did. When he walked in and saw Sophia at the table, thinner, eyes red from crying, his heart clenched. They barely spoke through dinner. Then over coffee, the truth finally spilled. His father admitted the affair, the cover-up, the decisions made to protect everyone. Sophia spoke softly about foster homes and feeling invisible. Alex listened, and when the room went quiet, he looked at her and asked, "Why didn't you just tell me it was you?" Her answer broke him. "Because I was terrified you'd reject me again." Something shifted that night. Not forgiveness, not yet, but understanding. They started talking, carefully, slowly. Coffee here, a walk there. No romance, no illusions, just two siblings trying to rebuild what was stolen from them as children as Sophia's art changed again. The veiled figures began stepping into light. Alex attended her first gallery show, standing proudly as people admired paintings titled Unveiled. He started a private blog, sharing their story without names, and readers poured in with their own tales of hidden family truths. Healing, it turned out, was contagious. Sophia met someone new, an artist who knew everything and loved her anyway. Alex began dating again, choosing honesty from the very first moment. No more secrets, no more veils. One evening, they sat together watching the same sunset she used to paint. Alex raised his glass. "To truth," he said. Sophia smiled through tears. "And to family." What started with a shattered wedding ended with something stronger. A bond forged not in deception, but in courage. Love doesn't always look like we expect. Sometimes it wears the face of forgiveness. And sometimes the most astonishing heartbreak becomes the beginning of the deepest healing. The days after the wedding turned into a suffocating fog for Alex. He dragged himself to the office, poured every ounce of energy into blueprints and deadlines, anything to keep his mind from replaying that moment under the veil. But every quiet second brought it back. Her voice on those late-night calls, the dreams they shared, the love he felt so deeply, all twisted now into something he couldn't name. Sleep became impossible. He'd wake up reaching for a phone that wasn't ringing, heart pounding with a mix of rage and unbearable loss. Therapy was his only outlet. Week after week, he sat in that small room and finally said the words out loud. "I fell in love with my own sister because she lied about who she was." Saying it made it real, and real hurt like nothing else. Sophia didn't fare any better. She locked herself in her tiny apartment, curtains drawn, paintbrushes untouched for weeks. The bright colors she once loved now mocked her from the shelves. Every canvas she started ended up slashed or painted over in angry black strokes. Friends knocked, called, texted. She ignored them all. Guilt pressed down so hard she could barely breathe. She kept replaying Alex's face the instant recognition hit him. The joy draining away, replaced by pure devastation. She had done that. She had taken the one person who could have been her family and shattered him. One sleepless night, she grabbed a notebook and wrote everything she couldn't say to his face. How empty her childhood felt, how she watched his life from the sidelines and ached to be part of it, how she truly believed love would fix the past if she just hid the truth long enough. She poured her heart onto those pages, sealed the envelope, and mailed it before fear could stop her. When the letter arrived, Alex stared at it for 3 full days before opening it. The handwriting alone brought tears. Childhood memories of little notes slipped under his door before everything fell apart. Reading her words cracked something inside him. Anger was still there, burning hot, but underneath it came a flood of sorrow for the scared little girl no one fought to keep. He didn't answer. Not yet. He needed to feel everything first. The betrayal, the grief, the twisted love that had nowhere safe to land. Time crawled forward. His parents, drowning in their own shame, decided enough silence had caused enough damage. They invited both Alex and Sophia to a quiet dinner at the old family home. Alex almost refused. In the end, he went, steeling himself for another explosion. The table was tense, conversation forced, until dessert when his father finally broke. He admitted every ugly detail of the affair, the lies, the choice to send Sophia away for everyone's good. Sophia spoke next, voice barely above a whisper, describing cold foster rooms and birthdays spent alone. Alex listened without interrupting. When she finished, the silence stretched until he asked the only question that mattered. Why didn't you just tell me it was you from start? Her answer was simple and devastating. Because I was sure you'd turn me away again. That night didn't fix everything. Forgiveness doesn't arrive in a single moment. But something shifted. They exchanged numbers, real ones this time. A week later, Alex texted first. Coffee? Neutral ground. She replied instantly. Yes. Please. They met at a small cafe overlooking the ocean. Conversation was careful, surface level at first. Work, whether anything safe. But slowly the walls came down. They talked about the childhood they should have shared, the pain they both carried, the lies that weren't entirely theirs. Months passed in small steps. Coffee turned into walks. Walks turned into dinners. Boundaries were clear. No romance, no crossing lines, but a sibling bond began to grow where nothing had existed for years. Sophia picked up her brushes again. Her new paintings were different. Veiled figures stepping into soft light, shadows giving way to color. Alex became her biggest supporter. When she landed her first gallery show, he was their front row, eyes shining with pride as strangers admired work born from their shared pain. He started writing too, an anonymous blog chronicling their journey from altar disaster to cautious reconciliation. Readers flooded the comments with stories of their own hidden relatives, forgiven secrets, healed families. The response reminded them both they weren't alone. Sophia met someone new, a quiet sculptor who listened to her entire history on their second date and stayed anyway. Watching her laugh with someone who knew the full truth gave Alex peace he hadn't expected. He began dating again, too, choosing openness from the very first hello. No more mysteries. No more veils. One golden evening, they found themselves on the same beach where Alex had sat broken on his wedding night. The sunset painted the sky in the exact color Sophia used to describe over the phone all those months ago. They sat side by side, quiet for a long time. Finally, Alex raised his coffee cup, old habit, and smiled. To truth this time. Sophia clinked her cup against his, tears sparkling in her eyes, but a genuine smile on her face. And to family. What began with the most astonishing heartbreak imaginable transformed into something stronger than either of them could have planned. Love doesn't always wear the face we expect. Sometimes it arrives wearing the face of forgiveness, patience, and the courage to rebuild what was broken. Their story proves that even the deepest wounds can heal when two people choose truth over silence.